For staying with politics tonight. Our attention this evening is on political developments in Ondo State as the state governorship election gets closer by days. Political actors are warming up. The electorates are expectant ahead of the party primary scheduled to take place between 6th of April to the 27th of April. And state governorship elections slated for November 16, 2024. Joining me tonight is a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. Is also an aspirant, Dr. Ehinlanwo, a technocrat and obviously a politician. He's also a senior IT management consultant, program manager. He was the former governorship candidate of the defunct CPC, one of the legacy parties that fused to become the APC in the 2012 Ondo State governorship election. Dr. Ehinlanwo, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's great to have you on politics tonight.
It's my pleasure.
Right, so there is a lot to bond with this evening, from political developments in Ondo State and to other national issues. Let's start this way. It's been 9 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. How would you assess it?
Well, I would say that the president is making every effort, is doing his best. To be fair, he inherited very, very difficult challenges. He's trying to articulate and bring on board very, very sensible policies to be able to address these problems. I think he's doing well. Yes, granted, there are difficulties within the polity, within the economy, but he's facing those challenges very head-on. These problems have been there for several years, and it's demonstrated remarkable courage. What I would say is that we need some patience to get over many of these problems. And I think so far, from my perspective, it's good. Yes, there are opportunities to really sort of do much more, and it's very much committed to that. I think so far so good in my view.
All right, but I mean, of all the steps the president has taken since he assumed office, which would you consider as the most impactful, the boldest?
I think the boldest, I wouldn't even say it was his decision, because take the subsidy removal, for example. That removal had been done by the previous president. He just articulated that. It was imperative that he had to do that. It was a policy that was bound to have a very sprawling effect on the economy, on the people. But we had got to a point where this subsidy regime was no longer tenable. It was only benefiting a few. There was fleecing within the economy and all of that stuff. You had to take that courageous step to remove that, and that I think was quite courageous. And of course, it's also about working, trying to work with state governors to be able to alleviate the challenges. Of course, quite some more needs to be done, but I think that the president has found that, I would say, a kind of challenge, because it's a courageous step. This subsidy removal, had been there, had to be removed for several years. It was a pity that it came quite late. But the president had the courage to be able to take it off and say, enough, we can't sustain this. Our country can't sustain it. We don't have the money to be able to do so. And that for me, it's a demonstration of courage. Yes, he got some flack for it, but, as you would expect, things are going to be difficult before they get better.
All right, so twice now you've said Nigerians, more needs to be done. So for you, what more needs to be done?
Yeah, what more that needs to be done is that, which I think the president's already doing, is to ensure that, yes, for example, subsidy has been removed, to ensure that we alleviate the suffering of the most vulnerable people within our economy, within our system. You see, it's a statement of fact that people are finding it difficult to survive. Transportation has increased, food prices are increasing. So government needs to target, ensure that whatever palliatives that it's offering to be able to ameliorate these things are done, they reach the right people. There needs to be a system that ensures that the masses, the people, who are bound to suffer from the effects of this removal, get what they need to support them to get through these very difficult times.
All right then. Still talking about steps. Some of the steps taken by the president, which many Nigerians have applauded him, or his emphasis on the performance of his ministers. The president has said their appointments are based on service delivery and can be revoked at any time. So I'm asking you this this question because I remember you urging the president to appoint competent hands.
Absolutely.
You remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wrote an article on that. Yeah.
How would you assess the ministers so far? It's been 8 months thereabouts.
Well, I think it's to be fair. My assessment: some of the ministers have done quite well. I wouldn't want to name names. Some have not, been as good as they should be. But of course, it's up to the president to determine those who have done well. And there needs to be a clear assessment process for that, to be able to determine that. I'm not surprised that the president came up with the idea of, assessing the ministers. I don't think we've seen this for a long time in the country. That an assessment system, performance assessment system, is inevitable. It's the right thing to do. And the president did that because the purpose of the ministers coming on board is to deliver for our country, deliver for the president. And the president will judge on how well he has delivered. So he needs to have people who can go very far, who are driven to achieve significantly for this country.
Right. So because it was a transition of power from one APC, from the same party, from an APC government to another, so many thought it should have been so easy for the current administration. In your opinion, why does governance appear tough for this administration?
The thing is, the problem that this administration inherited is not just a problem of the APC, of the previous APC. It's that some of the problems have been there for very many years. The good thing, for example, I mentioned the subsidy thing just now. The good thing is that this president had the courage to face those issues head-on. We were in a position where the country could not sustain some of the things that were happening. The cost of governance, and a lot of the subsidy regime, the way the forex was managed, all the debt issues, and all of those things. The president had to take a position. We had to look our problems in the face and say, look, we've got to deal with this now. It's akin to a man who has who has been facing very difficult times, and has been sort of dealing with it. At a point in time, if he doesn't deal with it, it's bound to consume him. And the president, as a responsible president, and based on the promise that he gave the people, face the issues head on. Yes, granted, where some of the consequences of that is a bit of hardship, but I think that in the situation we are in, we are bound to get through difficult times before things can get better.
All right, thank you.